As Switch hits the middle of its life cycle, Nintendo is confident it will overtake the Wii.
I think it's a very good possibility.
That's very cool.
I think we're way past the middle point, though. The Switch is 4 years old. I don't want another 4 years. That's why they need to do a refresh. The Switch feels like it's near the end of the life cycle. That's why they need to do a refresh. The software will only get you so far, as evident by really the Wii, if you look at it, because the Wii had very successful software even towards the end of its life cycle with games like Xenoblade, all of those, what was it, Operation Rainfall games.
Yeah.
But the hardware was just very dated.
Skyward Sword was also there.
Yeah, if you do a system refresh, Switch Pro is not good enough. You'd be surprised. It depends on how far NVIDIA can make the Switch Pro go.
And I think the better model of refresh is you look at the 3DS and how its lifespan and its sales kept just going on forever. And, you know, if they wouldn't have stopped the software drip on that, like it was doing very well with the hardware releases, selling hardware.
And that's the new thing, Treon's. NVIDIA's DLSS is like getting even better as like the days go on. And it's not about meters. It's the future of gaming, in my opinion, is not about raw power. It's about DLSS, artificial intelligence, artificial scaling, and things like that, because you can get those same sorts of visuals without having that power, because it's all automatically upscaled.
We're at the point where it's no longer a race for power. I feel the next Pro, the Switch kind of introduced the concept of, hey, you can play anything you want now. You just pick when it comes to consoles, you pick your resolution you want, which is, you know, just like PC. You have a PC, usually a game on PC, you have kind of a 10-year range where you play it on low settings if your PC's old, and you play it on super buff high, I'm Dynamite Giraffe settings if you got a PC like Greg. And consoles like that. I think, you know, the Switch 2 or the Switch Pro is actually going to be more powerful than a base PS4.
No, you're talking about two different things.
Go on.
If you're talking about a Switch 2, you're talking about a successor.
Okay.
If you're talking about a Switch Pro, you're talking about a refresh. Those are two different ball games.
Okay.
A successor has its own library.
Right.
Whereas a refresh would not.
Okay. As a refresh, I think it's easy for Nintendo to have a handheld that is as good as a base PS4. Because that's what I have, is a base PS4, and I'm feeling its age. I'm just like, oh, this thing is sluggish. Load screens are terrible. So I would expect if there was a Switch refresh, it would actually be better than a PS4 Pro or a base PS4, because that thing is not aging well. In terms of like power, just power in the sense of being able to load things. Like when I say power, it's really,
is it power or efficiency that you're looking for?
I would be looking more for efficiency.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think there's a couple things to consider too, especially with DLSS. Like there's like on PC Invasion, I've reported on it a couple of times. They keep adding more games that support DLSS and ray tracing right off the bat. But the problem is there's still, you know, the hardware to achieve that is, I believe, with the lowest is like the 3070 in terms of like RTX cards. So I think they're at kind of a standstill right now, because I mean, if you look at GPUs that are available, the raw materials needed to create those and to put into mass production a huge refresh that requires that, it's like, I think they're in a tough spot, because I don't even know if they have the resources available in a pandemic era to mass produce something like that. But I would also think too that it would have a higher price tag associated with it.
I don't know. Like we see other industries, you know, I know Sean hates it when we bring up cell phones, but like you look at refreshes in the cell phone world, you know, that pivots very quick.
No, I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
Okay. And then Xbox is another great example of how they refresh the, you know, consoles like crazy, to the point where there's too many Xbox consoles. Nintendo's kind of due for a refresh. They can do it. It's just like, what are you waiting for at this point? Are they still waiting and looking for gimmicks to, you know, I don't think you even need a new gimmick when it comes to Switch refresh.
You want to launch it with software. I feel you want to launch it with something that's going to showcase, like, yes, it's the same game, on the standard Switch as it is on this revised model, but look at how it looks on the revised model.
Oh, well, you know, you pick Breath of the Wild 2 for that then.
Well, yeah, that's what I was getting at. I'm just trying to be more.
That would be the ideal thing, considering Switch launch with Breath of the Wild. It's like, look, you want the new one? Pick up this revised hardware.
Well, there's also what's happening. I don't know if you've seen it with Crash 4, where it seems like it's not a downgraded version of the PS4 version in terms of like shadows and lighting and textures, but instead it's like reworked. Here,
I think that's another game that's also going to see DLSS support.
I think that game is going to sell best on the Switch, even though it came out later.
Yeah, I can't believe it launched Xbox One. PS4.
That's fucking stupid. The Activision just didn't want to put it on the Switch because they're idiots. But if you look at the Crash Insane trilogy, it sold like crack cocaine on the Switch, even though it came out much later. Where the fuck was that comparison that I saw earlier?
And plus, like that's like the majority, I would say, of Switch. You know, it's a family console. Of Switch owners have it mostly as a family console, whereas like an Xbox is like, you know,
my console.
Me and my living, like me in my living room, and maybe I'd play it, you know, but
maybe I know I saw this because I remember reading comments. Maybe it was on a different website.
While you're looking at that, any other questions for the lightning round or comments?
I heard it. Here it is.
Go on.
All right, so open image in new tab. Okay, I'm going to send you this image on Facebook, and then you can share it with the chat.
Why don't you share with the chat? Or you mean
because idiot, you have to put it up on the screen.
Okay, I thought you meant the link. Greg, what's in your mouth?
A thing to my vape juice.
But like when you look at it, there's obviously
did you send
key differences. Yeah, did it not go through?
Oh, you sent it to the group?
Oh, sorry. No, I didn't send it to the group. I sent it to you directly. Why didn't it send? Let me try again.
It got caught up at the border.
It's not wanting to send. Okay, so I'll just send you the fucking website link. Okay, now
okay. So it's an image.
It's an image with the Switch version on the left and the PS4 version on the right, but you can clearly see it's reworked textures and assets and lighting and things like that. So like that's another way. It would obviously be more time consuming to put certain games on the Nintendo Switch using this. But I actually I mean, not to sound like a fanboy, but I kind of like the Switch images a bit more than because the PS4 shit just looks like.
Well, you have more contrast on the Switch.
It just looks too realistic.
Yeah, because there's more lighting effects on the PS4 version.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. It just kind of looks.
On the Switch, you have the shadows are darker and the light, like everything is, there's more contrast between the colors because there isn't that lighting effect that's creating the fade and all that.
Right.
That's what you like.
I just feel like it's one game you don't need. You know, you don't need it to look like the newest Ratchet and Clank.
Right.
No, you don't.
Well, a lot of these games, you don't need it to look like there's kind of the two camps, right? There's those who really want that, especially if you're playing like a realistic game, like let's say The Last of Us, you know, in a game like that, you probably want it to look good because you're essentially playing a glorified movie. But with games that are a little bit more cartoony, like your Marios, your Crash, your Ratchet and Clanks, it's great that it looks good, but it doesn't make it more fun or anything.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And plus, this is a $40 game, whereas Ratchet's going to be a $70 game. So, yeah. What would be acceptable for an upgraded Switch? Do they get all games at 60 frames per second, or do they need to push 4K? You would need, in my opinion, shoot for 1080 60. That 4K, you know, 4K is cool. But at the end of the day, if you can get 1080 60, that's good enough for me. Artificially upscale it to 4K via DLSS technology.
I really like this DLSS.
Future gaming, my friend.
Yes.
All right. One last question coming in here by John, though. What do you think the possibility of a PS Vita TV Switch Pro option? What?
Okay.
What? Did you just mash all of the things together? PS Vita.
He's saying how you could do how the PS Vita TV was a thing where you could play Vita, it was the little device. So that as a Switch Pro, it's not a handheld system, it's a little thing. I don't know. I wouldn't hold my breath on that.
So would that mean like playing the Switch in handheld?
You know what a PS Vita TV is?
No.
You wouldn't be able to do handheld. It was essentially a box that played PS Vita games on your television at a discounted price because it wasn't a portable system. It didn't have a screen or anything like that.
Would you play with the Vita controls or with a PlayStation?
Yeah, you use a PlayStation controller.
Oh.
They discontinued it after like a year, I think.
Yeah, it didn't sell very well. I have one too somewhere.
I could see them do like a mini, like what they did with the Wii Mini, which was like a little box.
How have you never heard of the PlayStation Vita TV? That's weird.
I really had no interest in the Vita library or the Vita as a whole.
Yeah, but you could do other shit with it. It wasn't just Vita.
I don't know.